This NASCAR North Wilkesboro weekend betting recap edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog is offering plenty of markets this week for the PGA Championship that you can't find anywhere else. Sign up with our promo code RACESGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code RACESGPN. We're also brought to you by the Mega Memorial Merch Sale. 15% off of everything in the SGPN merch store with the promo code SGPN May.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'll wreck my mom to win a championship. I'll wreck your mom to win a championship.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
It refrains me from not beating the out of you right now because you ask me stupid questions. But since I'm on probation, I suppose that's improper to say as well. If you could talk about racing things, we could talk about racing things.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Welcome in to another episode of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast. Hashtag marked safe from Ricky Stenhouse right cross. We are, of course, coming to you live after the North Wilkesboro All-Star Race and Truck Race. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez. Cody, first and foremost, listen, full disclosure, I've been watching so much WWE lately that after the race fight kind of didn't faze me. I was almost waiting for it. I was like, wait, are they going for the title? Oh, no. That's just Ricky Stenhouse throwing punches at Kyle Busch. That was entertaining, to say the least. A great cap off to what was otherwise a all-star race.
Yeah, that probably was the highlight of the night. Really, Rod, other than Ty Gibbs winning the Open in dominating fashion. Of course, we'll get to that. But, yeah, it was, he said he was going to do it, right? He warned everybody. He said, he told the crew chief, he climbed up in the box, tell Kyle I'll see him after the race. Then he, told TV, he's like, maybe Richard will have to hold my watch. Like, they knew it was coming. His dad, Ricky Stenhouse Sr., got involved in it. It was great. It made it exciting at the end of the evening. So, it's pretty crazy. You wait that, it was 2 hours later, and he's still upset about it. And so, but it probably makes it worse because, like they mentioned on TV, you can't leave the track because you're stuck inside of there. So he's just sitting there in his bus with it festering. And, it came out at the end. I loved it.
Some of the worst, I guess, moods that I've ever been in is when I've been allowed to just sit there for a few hours thinking about it and not being able to have an outlet for it, right? You got to figure Stenhouse was out lap 2. He's sitting there watching the rest of this race. He's watching Kyle Busch get into Ty Gibbs. He's watching Kyle Busch apologize on the radio to Ty Gibbs. And he's like, oh, hell. I bet that was really what pushed him over right there.
Yeah, that really, he's like, this motherfucker just wrecked him. And then he's saying he's sorry. And that's it. That had to have made it just 10 times worse. And, you're sitting there, you're already pissed off. And then something adds and you're just like, this motherfucker.
As somebody who's never really instigated a fist fight before, I can only imagine like what it takes to literally swing at another human being. It just doesn't go. I don't know. It's crazy to think. Justin checking into the chat saying, "Man, Larson almost pulled it off. Who in her right mind would have picked Logano outright?" I'm sure there was a few people out there. Andrew talking about Ricky Stenhouse being the man, and JDK also saying, "Look, in all fairness, it was a quote unquote new race, and that normally equals a win, but."
We missed that angle, I guess, looking back, but not sad to have missed out on a Joey Logano outright, to be honest with you, Rob.
I don't know if my fingers would have allowed that kind of thing to happen. So, yeah,
when we were one more shot from Christopher Abel away from Joey Logano finishing second to last too. So, we'll get into it when we break it down here.
We needed to hire Kyle Busch to bulldoze the way clear for all those guys. But yeah, we'll get to all that. But first, let me tell you, first and foremost, this is an exciting week. Cody and I are going to earn every bit of money that we've ever made off of this entire company this week alone, because it's the biggest week in racing. You guys already know it. We're going to tell the world, though, this is going to be the promo that everybody else runs the rest of this week, but we are going to rule the world this week. Indy 500, Monaco Grand Prix, the Coke 600, your kids' bicycle race, your tricycle race, all of it's going down this weekend. 1,100 miles, Kyle Busch is racing for sure. And of course, we know the F1 going to the crown jewel in Monaco. We got it all for you all this week, from us to the F1 Gambling Podcast as well. We are going to be covering all of it. And you can enter to win your very own Kyle Larson diecast. It's free to enter, just like everything else on this network. All you got to do is go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/race to register. Make sure to subscribe to us on the F1 Gambling Podcast, and you're going to get a chance to win this amazing diecast. Look at that. So beautiful. I can't even wait. I want one. Never mind. I'm going to enter. You guys don't get to win. Anyways, doesn't matter. Enter it. Have fun with us. We're going to be doing this all week long. Plus, we're running a mega Memorial Day merch sale. That's 15% off of everything in the merch store with the promo code SGPN May. Get yourself some nice Racing Gambling Podcast hoodies, hats, whatever, coffee mugs, whatever you like. Do it and enjoy.
Oh, I'm so excited for this contest, Rod. If you're watching on the YouTube, or if you go over to the X, I just tweeted out the graphic along with the link to get signed up for it. But yeah, dual diecast pack of Kyle Larson cars, right? The Indy car and the NASCAR Cup car from this coming weekend, which is going to be really cool, and it's autographed by him and everything. So excited for that. And yeah, real easy. You're picking the winners for the three races. We left Max, no Max, right? It's the winner without Max on the F1 side to kind of juice things up a little different. Basically, we'll just take the average of, if somebody picks all three, hopefully you parlay that too. I would go ahead and just set those parlays in when you place those picks, so you don't just win the contest, but you also have them parlayed, because you'd hate to miss out on that. But if somebody doesn't pick all three, then we're going to do lowest average, right? If you have 3 or 2 firsts and a second, or whatever the deal is, if there's a tiebreaker, then it will be broken here on the show. We'll break out the prize wheel and do it that way. But yeah, really excited for this contest, Rod. It's going to be such a big week. We have so much stuff, ton of shows loaded up. We're going to have an Indy 500 special edition. We have all 3 NASCAR Cup Series races, or all 3 NASCAR Series races in action. Monaco for F1. Still going to have our DFS and underdog stuff. Tons of articles on the website. Going to be a freaking great week.
And all of this mileage of racing. I mean, look, today was almost kind of like a preview of it, because if you did the truck race in the morning and then went to the IndyCar qualifying and then went to the All-Star Open and then to the All-Star race, I mean, I swear to God, you probably watched so many.
I mean, racing was on the TV since about 10 o'clock this morning until an hour ago when it all ended. So yeah, it was great.
Yep, it absolutely was. So hopefully you got down on all of that. Well then, Cody, I guess we'll start with the Cup race that we just saw. Let's turn our attention first to the Open. Let's turn our attention to the Open. We'll start there. Obviously, this new tire package was what it was. Ty Gibbs comes and ends up leading every single lap in that Open. Like, I don't know. To me, and what pisses me off the most is that I was so excited about these tire options, right? I was so excited about the new package of tires where we got soft, where we got regular tires. And I wanted to see how all of that played out. Well, it didn't. And it literally was about the same tire for both sets.
I mean, it had its, like Larson, those first couple of laps there at the end, he put it on and ran through everyone. But how much of that was just Larson being overly aggressive? And I mean, he definitely had the advantage with the tires, but wore off so quickly, things kind of stabilized out. I'm glad they tried it, right? And it's a start. Now, don't just throw it out because it didn't necessarily work how we wanted to, right? No. Let's continue to work on this. We can do it again in the Clash next year at Bowman Gray, right? That'd probably be a good spot at a short track to try this out. And we can have some testing between now and then to figure it out. But just keep working on it, figure it out. There were parts of the race, right, where there was quite a bit of battling going on. The restarts were great. You get guys side by side for lap after lap. Once they single filed out, obviously you weren't going to pass the leader and all. So, it was a short track race. It's kind of what we've gotten used to. And is what it is. We had a fight at the end to spice it up. So that was always fun.
Yeah, well, and look, there were racy parts of this, right? There were absolutely racy parts of this, and there was instances where it did look good, and the side-by-side racing for lap after lap after lap after lap, and then, not just pulling away after you got around them, you were able to fight back, and that Bubba Wallace battle was monumental right in the All-Star race proper, but, with Bubba and Ty being in the front of that other race, you were kind of fighting for it. Now, listen, for as much as you poo-pooed on Josh Berry, he made a hell of a run. He wasn't.
I said he didn't have a chance to win, Rod, and he didn't.
But he actually, if he would have started a little farther, if we had qualifying proper, right?
Yeah, well, Justin Haley would have started on the pole. He might have won too.
I'm just saying, Josh Berry could have done something. But look. I love how our three.
We did give out 3 outrights for the Open, and they finished 1, 2, 3. Rod, I told you it was Ty Gibbs' race plus 275. It seemed ridiculous because the next available person was like 7-1, but you had to do it. It was going to be Ty Gibbs. He's going to be the fastest car, the best driver. It works out where he ends up on the pole. Would he have gotten the pole if he'd been able to qualify? Who knows? Guys like Austin Dillon got so shafted in that deal, which sucked for him. But Gibbs, once it rained out and Gibbs starts on the pole, felt good about it as long as nobody dumped him, and he ran away from it. Bowman on the one restart got right with him, and I was a little concerned things weren't going to go well, but then he ends up running away with it. So cash the plus 275. I also gave out Bubba at 7-1. He finishes second, which you'll take. And then, Rod, you had Josh Berry at plus 750. He finishes third. So really, and as far as the outrights go, we gave out 3, and they finished 1, 2, 3. So pretty good value there.
Yeah, and for Josh Berry, obviously not even starting anywhere near. He started 12th, I think, right? 12th in that field or something to that effect.
Yeah.
Managed to wake up to third, and one more restart. Who knows? He could have had something for Bubba and Ty, but we did not get that restart. However, we did end up getting
onto the truck race, right, Rod?
Yeah, onto the truck race.
We have to talk about the All-Star race.
Let's talk about the All-Star. What? Listen, here's the thing about this. We tried. We did. We tried to bring out a different flair. We tried to make things a little different. But it just
we were really close on a few of these. I mean, so we'll just go through it, right? Kyle Larson versus Chase Elliott plus 110. This was never close. This one did cash. Ridiculous that these guys were matched up against each other, really, which sounds crazy to say, but like really, and it was because we knew Larson was going to start in the back, right? And he does. He shows up, all that stuff. But he was there at the end, has a good run. Elliott kind of just a non-factor throughout the day. So cash that one to start off the card. It's basically downhill from there, right?
So, you know what I was thinking the entire time, and I don't know if it was Harvick or if it was Boyer who said something to the effect, but I was thinking it right from the get-go. I mean, how are you, Kyle Busch, touching 241 in an Indy car and then coming to North Wilkesboro where you get out of third gear, I'm assuming, and you're just like, what? It's got to feel like you're flying down the freeway in Arizona and then getting stuck in Los Angeles traffic. I got to imagine that's exactly what it feels
like it being Kyle Larson, by the way. You said Kyle Busch, but
Kyle Larson.
Maybe I would love to see Busch be able to run it, and I know he wants to. His brother did it, obviously, but yeah, it's got to be like being a fighter pilot, right? And you're out doing your training stuff, and then you get in your car and you got to drive 35 on the ride home. It's like, it's just, and not to mention, like, the difference in those race cars. But Larson's so used to that I don't think, he goes from a heavy NASCAR stock car to a light sprint car in the same day and kicks ass in both of them. So he's so used to doing those types of things. Now he's never gone as fast as he did today in an Indy car, right? 233 mile an hour average, right? Over 4 laps. And then to get in the helicopter, then the airplane, back in the helicopter and get there. It was a good practice run for next week, because obviously next weekend is when it really matters. But he truly is the greatest race car driver on the planet at this current time. That's hands down. And there was that thing with Mario Andretti, the video that Mario Andretti made before the race, and I know you mentioned your wife was cutting onions during that, which really but when you think about it, that's what Kyle Larson is, today's Mario Andretti. He will get in anything, anywhere, and he's not only does he do it, but he's really fucking good at it. He's starting 5th place at Indy this week, in the Indy 500. He's going to show up and be a player at the Coke 600. He was a player tonight. He's probably going to win 4 sprint car races this weekend. He flipped a car on Thursday, Rod. He flipped a sprint car Thursday. Then he goes and does all the Indy stuff. Then he comes to do this. It's absolutely incredible what we're seeing from him, whether you're a fan or not. And your brother checking in, it's official. I'm Team Larson. You have to enjoy this. NASCAR moving the start of the race back 15 minutes tonight was beautiful, because, look, what this guy's doing is extraordinary. It's not like, he had a wedding he had to go to, let's push it back for him. Who cares? He's doing a great feat that's great for NASCAR. It's great for IndyCar. It's great for motorsports. All of it. Absolutely love every bit of it.
I do too. And I told my brother too, we were texting back and forth. It doesn't hurt the fact that he's from nearby Elk Grove, which is definitely a good local connection for us as well. All right, I'll give you my first bet, but first I got to tell you about Underdog Fantasy. Hey, listen, we did fantastic on Underdog. Well, okay, I did. I will talk about that in a little bit. Did fantastic on Underdog this weekend. So much fun to do it. And it's so simple too. Plus the NBA playoffs are here. Underdog is wanting to make this a lot more interesting for you. Underdog Fantasy, it's the easiest place to play fantasy sports. Playing their pick'em game is as simple as selecting higher or lower on player stats like points, rebounds, assists, and so much more. And of course, in the world of racing, better than or worse than the projected finishing position of the drivers of your choice. You can make entries in all of just basketball, or you can mix and match across your favorite sport, winning up to 100 times your money in some cases. Plus, it's just a ton of fun. Let's face it. Underdog is available all over the place. Plus, new customers get a pick'em special in the lobby when they sign up. Underdog will also be running a ton of different promos, bonus cash airdrops, specials, giveaways, and so much more through the NBA playoffs. So make sure to follow at Underdog Picks on Twitter to keep an eye out. Underdog is available in 30 and more states, including California, Texas, and Canada. Plus, they also just launched Champions, their player versus player format in Florida. So sign up today with our promo code RACESGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code RACESGPN. All right, so my first bet was pretty simple as well, because Kyle Busch, the bulldozer, came nowhere near Ross Chastain. Therefore, Ross Chastain was able to keep his place. Now, I will say there was one point where Chastain was one place up in front of Kyle Busch, and I held on to my chair because I wanted to make sure that Kyle Busch was not bringing out that bulldozer attachment to his car and trying to take down Chastain. But this one definitely cashed. Ross Chastain finished better than Kyle Busch. Look, for Kyle Busch's sake, right? This race was sort of over already from the beginning of it. And I don't know if he was just necessarily trying to take everybody out, but he probably knew that he wasn't going to end up with a good finish and win $1 million out of this race unless everybody in front of him ended up wrecking out. So Ross Chastain ends up with a nice 7th place finish. And Kyle Busch ends up, I got to keep scrolling. Where did Kyle Busch end up?
He's 10th.
Oh, 10th. There it is.
He
Oh, yeah.
Finished better than you would have thought he did. But
well, yeah. But there's only 20 cars, so he finished better than half of the cars,
sure.
In which he ended up wrecking two.
When after Stenhouse went out, I was looking at my DFS line because, of course, I had Stenhouse in DFS, and lap 2 he gets fucking wrecked. I'm like, God damn. And I look, I'm like, oh, he still has 19 points. Like, that's not bad. And then I click on him and I go, oh yeah, he got a bunch of finishing points for finishing 20th because that's the worst you can finish. Like, yeah, I guess that makes sense.
You're like, wow, I
was like, wow, like that actually, like this is still a pretty solid day for. And then I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Everybody's going to get more finishing points than this. Never mind. I'm fucked.
No. And Ross Chastain, he never really had a shot to actually win this race, or I even think score a top 5 finish, but good on him to be able to kind of battle back up there. He did start 7th and ended up 7th, but obviously he was running in the mid-teens at one point and managed to battle his way back up to a 7th place finish. So good on Chastain, but yeah, for Kyle Busch, I mean, he started 14th, right, and finished 10th. So, it's a good day for him, but yeah, but it's Ross Chastain had a better day, which is all we wanted out of it.
That's all that matters, Rod. Old-fashioned football checking in. Hey, buddies. Hey, how's it going over there? Make sure you check them out. Great show. They say don't forget to hit the like button on YouTube for Cody and Rod. It helps. That is very true. It does. Make sure you click the subscribe as well. JDK mentioning also fastest rookie single lap record for Kyle Larson. He did set that this weekend. So, yeah, that was, again, to continue on his great accolades of the weekend. Rod, I had Brad Keselowski over Joey Logano, plus 100 on Superbook. These guys started 1-2 before the race. I may or may not have doubled down on Keselowski here because I thought to myself, this is easy. These two, they're starting right next to each other. Did you see Brad Keselowski after the green flag, Rod?
Once when they were panning and it just passed over his car. That was it. Yeah.
I mean, I really, I don't even know what the hell happened. I never saw Keselowski. Like, he right from the start just, dropped anchor and dropped backwards. So a little disappointing after, got big win last week, right? He comes in with all some momentum, starts in second place. Ford's obviously got some shit figured out, as we've seen a couple of weeks in a row now. And you're like, okay, here we go. And then just nothing from Keselowski. I thought even starting next to each other on the front row, all right, here we go. This is for Keselowski. And unfortunately didn't hear from him, so did not cash this one either.
Yeah, he was just a product of not getting that good start and not being able to pass. And really, that was the scene for the next guy that I had, Tyler Reddick. I had him as a top 3 car. He starts 6th place, right? Which for Tyler Reddick, if you put him anywhere near a top 3 finish already, then you're pretty much guaranteed a top 3 finish. But yeah, Tyler Reddick literally just slid back. I mean, that was it. The first initial start, Tyler Reddick kind of got punted, and that was it for his day for the most part. I mean,
he's got to figure something out with the short tracks. Like, he's really been struggling on the short track. So I don't know what the deal is there, but yeah, unfortunate from Reddick there. Again, just kind of not really a player after the start. I had Martin Truex Jr. over Ryan Blaney, minus 115. Blaney actually showed up, looked pretty good, right? Much like his teammate, had a chance to maybe even take the lead at one point there late. Settles in for 5th. Truex was 12th. Roddy started 8th. Finished 12th. I mean, I think that's basically where he ran throughout the night. And he didn't, again, another guy I don't even remember seeing on TV. I'm not even sure if he was in this race, but unfortunately he did not cash this head-to-head.
Nope, not even a little bit, unfortunately. Yeah, Truex did. All these guys that we thought would be good. And look, honestly, this could definitely, a lot of it came from the fact that they couldn't qualify. I mean, you got to think that played a heavy part into this.
Yeah, right? I guess we didn't mention any of that. Obviously, the heats get rained out, so they did have the single lap qualifying, and so, or well, not single lap. I guess it was a lap plus the pit stop thingy. So that was the whole interesting part of things. But yeah, that did kind of, I guess, change up some stuff. But yeah, unfortunate.
Unfortunately for this next bet, let me read you off the cars that finished, okay? The 11 car in 2nd place, the 17 car in 3rd place, the 5 car in 4th place, the 12 car in 5th place, the 1 car in 7th place, the 8 car, or the 9 car rather, in 8th place. All of those fall between the 10 and 19 range. Guess which number doesn't fall in between that one? Oh, that's Joey Logano in the 22. I had the winning car between 10 and 19. 7 of the top 8 cars were in this number. We had 7 opportunities to cash this bet. This is only 9 numbers. Well, whatever it is, 10 numbers. It's not that many numbers, but we had more of an opportunity to cash this bet than we didn't. And of course, we got bit by the 1 car that could beat us in that, and that was Joey Logano. I don't want to talk about it anymore, Cody. I had this thing circled, just did not have it hit at the end.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. We won't talk about it anymore, Rod. Kyle checking in. I know he was at the track. Hope you had a good time there, buddy.
Good job.
I'm so pissed. Had Kyle Larson top 3. Thanks, Chris Buescher. Rod, I also had Kyle Larson top 3 plus 260. They say, Rod, that first place is the only place that counts. I disagree because we have top 3 bets, and third place counted a lot for me, and it didn't matter for Chris Buescher, but he fucked us over and got around Larson there at the end. I mean, Larson was holding on to this, right? You thought after that tire thing, like, here he comes. He's going to win this race. Gets to third, kind of stalls out, and you're like, okay, well, at least we got the top 3 at plus 260. What a fucking great number on Kyle Larson. You probably never see it again. And then he finishes in fucking 4th place when we didn't have top 5 odds this week, Rod. The heartbreak.
Yeah, it's definitely tough because that was one that, when he popped his head in there to the top 3, you were like, all right, at least we got this one going on. And yeah, that was about it. After that, Chris Buescher managed to find his way around him. And I don't know if that was
Buescher was roughing him up too.
Mm-hmm. He was
just, well, worked out for JDK. He did have Chris Buescher top 3 at plus 600. So
that's better.
Shout out to you for that one. I know I had Buescher was 10.5 on underdog or something. So we had the better than on that. So I know he helped cash a couple of those, but just so close, Rod. That would have made the day feel so much better if we'd have got that top 3.
Yeah, indeed. Well, we'll get to something that made the day feel a lot better, but I want to tell you first that if you're betting on NBA player props, you need to download Rhythm. Rhythm gives you a menu of the best player props for every single NBA playoff game, making it easy to go through and find the best props to put your money on in seconds. Rhythm's predictions are backed by over 3 years of data and a team of data scientists and quants that focus on fine-tuning our algorithm to give you the best shot at winning. Rhythm pairs its predictions with player props graphs to help you feel even more confident in your picks, which you can make whenever you normally place your bets or your DFS picks. From superstars to bench players, Rhythm finds the best player prop lines, all backed by AI data without you needing to endlessly scroll a sportsbook. Rhythm also allows you to create your own custom NBA models so you can get AI-backed money line, spread, and total picks for every playoff game. Start a free 7-day trial and start winning your NBA player props with Rhythm, available wherever you get your apps. All right. My next bet was Toyota winning manufacturer. Much like most of those cars that followed the 22, the Ford, were all under the area. The runner up to this race was a Toyota. Denny Hamlin had nothing for nothing for Joey.
So close, Rod.
And this is what kind of pisses you off about the whole thing. If there was actually passing in this race, then I think Denny Hamlin could have stood a good chance of getting around and cashing both of those bets. But there was no passing.
And Bell had him at one point. Then Denny almost had him. Just couldn't quite get it done. I thought, man, this one looked good when. Obviously, Bell and Logano got together. Hamlin shoots down to the bottom, and you're like, oh, here he comes. And then just couldn't quite get it done. So, unfortunate there, Rod. Outrights, I had Christopher Bell at 8-1. I felt good about this. The result, obviously, he finishes poorly, I think 17th or something. But he was battling for the lead, had a really good shot at this. If he'd have gotten around Logano there, they weren't going to pass him, right? They couldn't pass Logano, so he would have been able to hold on 8-1. That was feeling really good for a little bit. Kyle Larson at 9-1. Outside of a super speedway, Rod, if you ever get Kyle Larson at 9-1, you bet it. And tonight's why, because there was a part of the end of that race where you thought it's over. Here comes Kyle Larson. He's going to walk away with this. We're going to cash this 9-1 and laugh all the way to the bank because are you fucking kidding me for even offering this? Even though you knew he had to start last. Starts last just like we knew he would, Rod. Gets all the way to third in the last couple of laps. Obviously finishes fourth because he can't stay in the top 3 and catch that one at least. But felt really good about both these outrights. I had Truex as well at 11-1. This one not so great. Again, Truex not really a factor, but if we maybe had the heat races, maybe things, or if he qualifies a little better, that's the thing with any of these. If your guy would have started on the front row, maybe if it wasn't Keselowski, I guess, but if he starts on the pole, then maybe he's the guy who leads every lap because Logano led every lap but one, and that was during the pit cycling where he didn't lead a lap. So kind of how that goes. I also gave out Gibbs plus Truex. That was boosted over on Caesars at plus 38.45. The Gibbs part of it came through, right? So you feel pretty good going into the race, getting Truex at 38-1 or 36-1, basically, because you've already cashed the first leg of it. So it's fun to do these parlays, especially when one of them hits and you've got a big number you're sitting on waiting for the other one. So doesn't cash, but don't hate having done that.
I wonder if Larson would have gone on to the normal tires, right? The non-soft tires, the yellow letter tires, I guess is what they were calling them. Instead of the reds, would that have made a difference? I don't know. It just because he went on the second time around, he went on reds, and like I didn't
right.
seem
But I think I think the reds helped him get there, right? Because he restarted 10th or 11th, and it helped him get to third. And I think if on the yellow tires.
I mean,
probably
the second part of the run, not the end of the run. The end of the run, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You put those reds on for sure.
Yeah.
But like in the second, the when he came back in at what was a lap 50 to go, I think he put reds back on. I feel like he should have just put the yellows on and ran it out. You know?
Yeah. Who knows? Again, we'll never know.
But see, this is what. But I love talking that strategy in NASCAR.
Well,
right?
and that's
we talk about it all the time in Indy, and we talk about it in F1, but NASCAR.
Yeah, and it works so well over there. And like, honestly, at points, that's one of the only things that makes the F1 races more exciting, right? Because there's a strategy in there, and especially when it plays out into caution flags and stuff. And if we can continue to work on this and have these options, you know, at different tracks, or at least have them on road courses to start, or short tracks, maybe that's again. Maybe continuing this forward is the answer to this car on short tracks. We got to keep trying stuff. So hopefully they don't just abandon ship and kind of figure this out.
Yep, indeed. All right. I had Tyler Reddick. We already talked about him. Dude did not do anything. So let's just pass on by on that. But he started 6th too. It feels like that's a decent starting position for him. I do want to kind of hit over real quick our underdog, because I got to tell you right now, I'm super proud. Hit 3 of 3 on underdog. I had Buescher better than 10.5. Buescher was a hell of a fast car all day long. Finished in 3rd place. And then I also had Michael McDowell better than 14.5. Michael McDowell finishes in 9th place. Got himself a decent 9th place finish. Then, Ryan Blaney better than 9.5. Ryan Blaney, another one of the better, faster cars on the day. He finishes in 5th place as well. So that was a lot of fun to watch those underdog plays get there. Unfortunately, you did not fare as well. You got Larson better than 6.5.
Yeah, Larson better than 6.5. Yeah, that's Truex was just slightly worse than the 8.5, and then I was on Fade Joey, and he was at 7.5. Obviously, he goes on wins the race, so really missed on that. We haven't seen it from Joey all season. Again, this is one of those times where I'm 0% mad at not having. You know, it's not like you look back and you're like, why did I fucking have this guy, or why did I fade him? Like, no, there was a million reasons. Well, a million reasons to not fade him, I guess, Rod. But no, there was a million reasons to fade him and to go against him, and we had not seen anything all season. He just won the All-Star race, Rod, and he might not even make the fucking playoffs. At this point in time, he's really sweating making the playoffs. I mean, 18th place, well outside of him. Maybe Ford turns things around, and maybe this is what Joey needs, a shot in the ass and things get going. But as of right now, he's not even in the playoffs, and yet he won the All-Star race. So
I will say $1 million makes for a hell of a cushion to fall on, right?
Yeah, well, that's true. At least he was remembered how much money he won. So doesn't have all that Smithfield money in the bank like Eric Almirola. Oh yeah, I forgot I won $100,000. No, Joey did mention, yeah, $1 million. We could find something to do with that. So,
it's like when you wake up and you see a deposit for for us, it'd probably be like $100. Like, where'd that $100 come from?
Yeah, you're like, I got a $15 credit from PayPal or something. Like, wow, this is a great
no!
day. Oh, yeah. This kid's running out there like he's not happy dad won. He's happy dad got $1 million.
Like Lego sets, let's go.
Remember all those things you said you would buy if you just won the All-Star race, Dad?
I get a pony. He's gonna run in the Belmont. Let's go. All right, Cody. What time is it, Cody?
It's Heim time, baby.
It's the truck race time indeed. And yeah, I mean, like every other race this season, it's Heim time.
So fucking good. He's so fucking good, Rod. Yeah, so this race was a lot of Corey Heim. I mean, really, that's kind of the crux of it. So it starts on Saturday, obviously. We get to the rain. Insane. I don't know. Did you see the video of Christian Eckes was out there in his fire suit? The water was up to his knees. He dove in it and was swimming around on pit road. They said they got, I think I saw TV kept saying 4 inches in 2 hours, but Bianchi tweeted out some weather service that said they got 5 inches in 90 minutes.
Oh my God.
At North Wilkesboro. Just an insane amount. Then the drain on pit road got clogged. So there was literally feet of standing water down there and everything. So race starts and then it gets paused, picks up again this morning, and they finished it out. Strategy definitely played pretty big in this because you had, the caution comes out for the weather. You have all the leaders pit. Eckes was kind of leading everything at that point, and dominated kind of the first part of the race. Majeski stays out, so he's the leader overnight. And then, strategy kind of continued to hit things all day today and really shuffled around the field a lot more than you would have thought. So, a majority of these bets really we didn't hit, but the ones we did hit paid for the ones we didn't hit, which was a great thing. So I had Nick Sanchez over Sammy Smith, -115. Sammy, qualifying rains out, so Sammy Smith doesn't start well. Then he gets a penalty right at the beginning of the race, and you're like, here we go. This is the Sammy Smith we know and love, Rod. And then he actually shows up, and part of it was strategy, right? He ends up somehow flipping it. I was golfing this morning on a little work thing, so I was watching, but with no sound on, so I was trying to pay attention. So I didn't necessarily catch every part of the end of this race, but Sammy Smith is 5th, Nick Sanchez in 7th. So shout out to Sammy Smith for, I guess, getting it somewhat done. Still probably not what he should be doing, being an Xfinity guy in the 7 truck, but 5th place finish for him, 7th for Sanchez. So this one does not cash.
I mean, Sammy Smith, that was a mixture, Cody, of just good flat out racing by him and really just making the right strategy calls at the right time. Honestly, for him, it was about staying out of the fracas, right? And it was about putting himself in the right position. There were really only 7 cautions in this, and obviously one of those came to put the whole thing on ice for a day. A couple of them were stage breaks, and there really weren't that many for incident in this race altogether. But for Sammy, it kind of was just him playing the right game to be able to, and that team did a hell of a job, that 7 team, as they always do, right? I mean, this 7 truck it's the all-star truck, so it's supposed to be good. It's supposed to be fast. So he just drove exactly the way he was supposed to drive, and that really was all it for Sammy. I had Rajah Caruth over Lane Riggs. The day Lane Riggs decides he wants to remember how to drive a truck, Lane Riggs ends up finishing in 3rd.
Yeah, and that's it. We talked about it, Rod, right?
Yeah.
It's going to happen eventually. It's inevitable. We know he's talented. We know he's good on short tracks, but till we see it, you're going to fade him. Well, we saw it.
We saw it. And for Rajah Caruth, for what it's worth for him, he actually had himself a pretty halfway decent day until it went south. He started 24th and was in the mix in the top 10 at certain points of the day.
Well, yeah, he stayed out with Majeski on the rain caution, so he was 2nd when they restarted the race today. And then, he ended up
actually led 6 laps in that race too. So it was looking pretty good for him. It's just Lane Riggs decided he wanted to wake up and remember how to drive on this day. So he does. Yeah. Lane finished 3rd. Rajah finishes 14th.
Rajah got spun out at 1.2, so that didn't help much. But I also faded Riggs with Taylor Gray -110. Not a great day for Taylor. Starts 5th, but ends up in 13th. I think he kind of got the bad side of strategy a little bit there. So again, we place these bets knowing at some point, much like a Joey Logano, Rod, Lane Riggs would pop up and probably beat us. But until he did, we were going to fade him. It's worked a couple of times. We made some money off of it. Am I sold that he's going to be good now? Probably not, right? I think that let's pump the brakes on that. I think at short tracks, we're definitely going to have more pause of maybe he will finish better like we thought he would going into the season. But I still think on a week-to-week basis, probably going to be a guy that's not going to be that great.
Yeah, I mean, I may not take head-to-heads with them nearly as quickly as I did this time around, but I certainly won't be clamoring for a top 5 bet each and every week for Lane Riggs. So I'm there. My brother checking in saying, love the truck race. I know we were talking about this weekend too. And suddenly he's a Butterbean fan. I got to tell you, you and everybody else that jumped on him in the top 5 car at 11-1 over on Bet365.
Beautiful.
Brendan Queen, my friends, that one truck. I mean, I would clip it out and probably listen to what I said about it. But honestly, I just knew that it didn't matter almost who was driving that one truck because it's been fast and well, the right people driving the one truck. And we've seen this year already, be it Xfinity, be it trucks, Like these guys that just come in for these one-offs or two-offs are coming in and driving the equipment well. And that's exactly what Brendan Queen did, right? He has to start from the back because obviously he's not even in this thing. 26th position he ends up starting from.
Yeah. Didn't even get a lap, Rod, because no, they did practice, right? Yeah, he was actually fastest in practice.
Practice. Yeah.
Again, this is why you play some of these bets before they get on track action, because I think that Derek and Phil over on the NASCAR Betting Preview Show made a great point. It's been a lot like SRX this season, right? When we had SRX and they would have the local hero or whatever, and it's the guy who knew the track, and all of a sudden he's beating and banging and beating Bobby Labonte, and you're like, battling with Tony Stewart, and it's like, well, yeah, because this guy knows this type of track and this is his type of racing and he knows how to get around here. Well, that's what you're seeing with these guys that we've seen come into Xfinity, with Bubba Pollard and with Carson Kvapil and now with Butterbean too. Like, this is his type of track. He's won here previously in the Cars Tour. Now you're putting him in what is a very good truck in a good situation. He raced his ass off. I mean, some of the passes he was making looked beautiful. He just did a great job. So shout out to him. Shout out to you for giving this out 11-1, Rod. The winner of this race was plus 250 to win, Rod. You don't always have to have the winner just to have a good positive day. 11-1 for Butterbean top 5. This was absolutely great call by you. I also had my own top 5. It looks pretty small compared to yours, Rod, but we're not going to compare sizes on this show. Grant Enfinger, top 5, plus 350. Enfinger, second place at the end of the day, Rod. And was sort of maybe kind of catching Heim a little bit there at the end. I don't think he was going to run him down, obviously, but Bo was hanging with him. Nice solid second place run by Enfinger. The handicap on this, Rod, was he's been inconsistent in this new equipment. We don't know. But at this number, he's such a good short track guy that you'll take it. And if he shows up, it's good. If he doesn't, oh, well, we know he's struggled. And he showed up and was the Grant Enfinger that we know Grant Enfinger to be on these short tracks. So, again, probably going to continue to be a way to get in on him. Going to Charlotte this week, probably going to lay off Enfinger a little bit. But when we get to that next short track again, probably going to get back in on Enfinger because seems to be a short track thing for him. And at least maybe in this car, they've sort of figured that out. And it was a great number at plus 350. So that made all the difference. So we nailed these couple of top 5s here and really helped save the rest of the day.
Yeah. And again, we all want Grant Enfinger to succeed because he's a great guy. And he was the cover guy, I think, of the betting episode. And yeah, we definitely want him to run well. It was just he wasn't doing it at that point. JDK talking about Butterbean running that lower line better than anybody else. That dude was driving hard into
He was just, yeah. And like the way he could wrap those corners, that's the signs of a guy who does short track racing each and every single week. I mean, and is really fucking good at it. So it's been really fun to watch these guys, those guys, and even Zilich too. I mean, we didn't mention him. He was in the 7 truck on the road course earlier this season. Like, that was really impressive. So we've had a lot of guys and they're being smart and picking and choosing, putting them in the right spots at the right times and in good trucks and good cars. You get in a JRM car in Xfinity, you get in a Spire truck or a Tricon truck, you're in a good truck, not just some random old ride and these people are showing their talent to the maximum. And that just helps so much to emphasize, like, go watch Cars Tour races. This guy races on all of them, right? That's the type of racing you're going to see. And there's, 30 of those guys in those races.
I wonder if the books are going to figure it out and adjust. I hope they don't. I honestly hope they don't. I hope they figure out.
Well, and yeah, I don't think he's got any other starts scheduled yet.
So either.
But maybe this leads to more.
In general,
well,
like these 7s, these 1s, these 88s, and the Xfinity.
Well, they didn't like Kvapil. We got him. I think you hit him the first race. I think we hit him the second race, still at like 5-1. Yeah. And I think this last time he was out at Darlington, he was still 5-1 or 6-1. Now, he didn't catch that time, but
he was close.
Stop talking about it, Rob.
Okay, we'll stop giving it out. We'll give it out in the Discord. We won't put it out in public. We'll just put it on the Discord so that way nobody catches on.
We'll give it out, but hopefully
we'll give it out. All right, my next one was dead on arrival because it didn't even happen. Obviously, with qualifying being rained out, Eric Almirola wasn't able to make the race. I'm so sad. I would have loved to have seen what Eric Almirola could have ended up doing in this truck race.
Yes.
Hadn't seen him in 2012 was the last time he'd taken the truck. Couldn't do it. Yeah. So I had Chastain, Heim, and Almirola in the top 5. Heim ended up obviously winning this race. Chastain, for what Chastain was doing early in the race, I feel like Chastain ends up coming and starting third, obviously with qualifying being rained out. He probably could have stayed there.
He was hanging out up there for a while too. Yeah.
He was. He led 6 laps in this race as well. So yeah, there was points in that race where it looked like Chastain could have done it, but I feel like the tale of 2 days is really what wrecked him, right? I mean, it didn't wreck him obviously, but it kind of ruined his day with all the strategies that was being played out with the rain and everything. He just never could get back on track. Chastain ends up finishing in 15th place, right behind Raja Karuth. So, but he didn't lead any laps. I'm sorry, Raja Karuth led 6 laps, but Ross Chastain was somewhere in the vicinity still, and it's frustrating because I feel like he could have been somewhere in the top 5 at the end of the day. He just never got a chance to do it.
Yeah, this is a good part to note too. If you had any Almirola bets out there, make sure they got graded properly based on the book. Again, it depends on the book's rules, but most of the books, it seems like if a driver doesn't make the race, the bet's voided. So make sure it didn't get graded as a loss, or if it did get graded as a loss, make sure you double check their rules, because we know that the books are not very smart at times and they don't fucking pay attention. So make sure you check the rules. If you had an Almirola bet, since he doesn't, I mean, it sucks because it's not like he didn't make the race on time. Like, qualifying got rained out, and that car hadn't started this season, so it's the car that goes out. He has a race since 2012, so he's not a recent winner. So that's just how it goes. But good to note to check in with your books and make sure that got credited properly for you.
I will say though that Almirola, I wanted to look at the practice times, because I do remember him being actually fast in practice as well for that. So this is the only practice that they had. Brendan Queen was the fastest. Eric Almirola,
he was 24th in 1 lap.
Oh yeah,
at least.
One lap, but yeah.
I feel like I'd have to go back and look, but I think that his 5 lap, 10 lap averages might have been a little better than that.
Yeah, I think so too. So yeah, unfortunately, like I said, Eric Almirola probably what coulda, shoulda, woulda, but didn't.
Aaron checking in. How about that fight? Yes, we actually, Rod and I decided to fight at the beginning of the show. No, just kidding. We did.
Cody knocked me out.
We're a long drive away from each other, but go back and listen to the beginning, because we did address the fight there. Rod, Ty Majeski, top 5 minus 120. I have one comment here, and then that's it. There's a fucking reason I don't bet on this guy, and I think that we saw it this weekend. So he's one of the more frustrating drivers to bet on, because he should be fucking good at these tracks, and when you don't bet on him, that's when he shows up, and when you do bet on him, he's a trash bag out there. And I'm not even sure what happened to him after this morning, but
so he finishes 11th place. He leads 50 laps in this race.
But he didn't lead 50 laps because he led 50 laps. He led 50 laps because he didn't pit.
Yep.
So JDK, where's Dos Flacos when you need him? Yeah, come defend your boy, Dos Flacos.
Cheers, Dos Flacos.
Yeah, I just, I wanted to get in on something on him because I had the feeling like maybe he would come out and win this race, and I wanted to at least be invested. And I'm now just regretting being invested. I think I'm probably going to go back to, if he beats me, he beats me, because I just get so frustrated trying to pick and choose on Majeski. And a couple weeks ago, I almost bet on him. I had him in there as a winner, Rod. I pulled it, and then lap 2 he wrecks, and it's like, well, this is why I didn't bet on him. It's frustrating. So no more Ty Majeski for me for a while. I'm giving it up for Memorial Day.
Well, a baby grand piano didn't fall on him. This was like more of a Casio, one of those old ones that had the beat that was like don't. That's the one that fell on Ty Majeski this time. It didn't necessarily kill his day, but it didn't help it.
JDK wants to make sure we mention, don't forget he was fast in Phoenix. Las Vegas, that's where
it was. Vegas.
But I didn't watch that race. Obviously that person was obviously with me and knew that I didn't watch the race ever at any point in time. So
Cody never watched.
I would like to make sure that everyone knows he was fast in Las Vegas. And even though I used that point against and cashed bets, never mind.
Never mind about Ross Chastain, top 3 either at plus 300. Again, looked good starting out, looked good for a half a second, and then the rain came and washed out was that down came the rain and washed Chastain right out, and that was it. So we're done with Chastain for now. Well,
Yeah,
it is an outright 2. I just want to get that over with too, and that didn't happen at 10-1. So
okay,
we're done.
there you go. Well, Rod, top Ford. The thinking on this was correct. The bets, unfortunately, were not correct. I had Rhodes 6-1, Crafton 950. Also gave out Crafton top 5 at 7-1. So the thinking with this, Rod, is, we're covered on Ty Majeski top 5, but if Ty Majeski doesn't get a top 5, it might open it up for someone else. Well, guess what? Ty Majeski doesn't get a top 5, and it does open it up for someone else. Majeski finished 11th. Lane Riggs, unfortunately, is the guy who takes it. Again, I wasn't too concerned about him. He started 23rd in this race too, so I'm like, all right, here we go. He's going to be back in the, back hanging out with the squirrels, Rod. We all know what happens when that happens. But unfortunately, he ends up doing it. But Majeski in 11th, but then really the next Ford was Matt Crafton in 20th. So if Riggs isn't up there and Majeski has a little something else go out, your next finishing Ford is 20th, Rod. And that's where Crafton was, and Rhodes was 22nd there. So, I don't know. It's just the thinking was correct, and I think that might be a market to continue to kind of look at. Just didn't get the right guys.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't in the cards for either Rhodes. And Rhodes had his points, right? And he was up there here and there. But again, it wasn't, I don't think it was anything that was sustainable, especially with the weather. So Ty or JDK, oops.
Oh,
JDK talking about is a watermelon, man. So the water should have helped him. That's a fruit, JDK. That's not anything to do with water. Duh. Erica checking in too.
You're really pushing on the dad jokes there. Yeah, Erica checking in. Busch taking out our Ty. Yeah, we talked about that earlier. Ty obviously wins the open race, which we had bets on him there. So that was great. And then, he gets upset at Stenhouse and then takes Ty out. So I think Ricky Jr. and Senior both got back at Kyle for Ty for you there. Andrew checking in, big Logano fan. Evening, fellas. Go Logano. Didn't get to watch the race, but happy with the result. Yeah, you didn't miss much. You led every lap but one and took home $1 million. So might not make the playoffs, but he's got to win at least, I guess. So there.
And there's one person in the world happy with the Logano win, and that's Andrew. So congrats, Andrew, for watching the 22 drive into victory lane. All right, getting back to the truck race, I had winning truck number under 18.5. Cody, what number is Corey Heim?
Number 11, Ron.
Although, what manufacturer is that?
He is a Toyota.
Which made me miss on my winning Chevy bet. So, damn it. The Chevys was right there. I have Grant Enfinger was there. And then the next 5 drivers after that in 5th through 9th were all Chevys. Sammy Smith, Christian Eckes, Nick Sanchez, Tyler Ankrum, Daniel Dye, all Chevys. But
yeah, and your number one too. I mean, under 11 or under 18.5, 1st, 2nd, 4th, 5th, 7th, all, and even 8th place. So you had 6 of the top 8 were all under the number. So you did hit that one, missed out on the Chevy part of it. Winners, Rod, I had given out Eric Almirola. Again, didn't make the race. Again, if you place that, make sure you double check and get credited properly. Gave out Taylor Gray at 14-1. We actually took him, again, another plug for the Discord to be in there. 40-1 he was after the rain or during the rain delay. It's a big number on a guy like that. I know he didn't win or really have a chance, but a big number and line movement like that is definitely worth, taking a stab on in case things happen. And we didn't know exactly kind of how things would go with coming back from the rain either. And then, Rod, I gave out Christian Eckes at 4-1. It looked good early. He jumps out to the lead quickly, and you're like, okay, here we go. Then obviously the rain kind of flips things, and he just kind of got bogged up. But I said you're going to double dip / buy insurance by taking Heim or Eckes to win, a +115 over on Caesars. And this is the reason you do it, Rod, because it was Heim time. Again, Heim was only +230, +250 to win this race. This way you could get both of them at +115. I'm not sad by any means having placed the outright on Eckes and doing it this way. So I think that's the way to do it. I think your brother has been kidnapped by Michael Waltrip. Am I crazy, or is Daniel Dye actually a halfway decent talent? And then JDK checking in. Yeah, Daniel Dye, perennial top 10er according to Michael Waltrip. Well, I think he's probably got like 2 on the season. So
no.
Does he have?
Listen,
he's got more.
He has got 4 and
wow.
5. I'm sorry, 5 top 10s. 4 of the last 5 races for Daniel Dye top 10 finishes: 6th at Texas, 9th at Kansas, 23rd at Darlington, but he did start 10th, and then a 9th place at North Wilkesboro. So, hey, if they gave us top 10s in trucks, I'd be heavily eyeballing Daniel Dye.
Yeah,
And
going back to your brother's comment, is he actually a halfway decent talent? I realized what he was asking. Is he a good cameraman? Yes, he is. He's a very talented cameraman. And if you ever need a shot of the wreck, just, the cameraman around the track, not so good at catching it. But Daniel Dye has got you covered.
Yeah, he's definitely a fantastic camera operator, but a good top 10 driver for the last 5 races. So you may have to start circling him in some of your bingo cards if you're talking about Daniel Dye. Overall, look, a great weekend of racing. Obviously, I know that the rain kind of ruined a lot of stuff for a lot of people. But, the fact that we got to wake up this morning and watch, I don't know, however many miles of racing it was, that was fantastic. And, of course, if you watch the F1 race like we did, that was even more.
Yeah, we forgot to mention that earlier. It was a full day of racing.
Oh.
F1, you wake up, you click that on at 8, and then it was just all day with the IndyCar qualifying and stuff. Rod, I know some people are just a little late in the show. I want to give this one more plug. Our contest for the big weekend of racing, it's pretty simple, Rod, and it's actually a little pricey to get entered. It's the big free price that we always charge here at SGPN. No cost to you. All you have to do is go to, I should probably know the link, Rod, but
sportsgamblingpodcast.com/race.
That's the link. Thank you very much. Go there and you can enter. All you have to do is be subscribed to the YouTube. If you're listening right now, you're probably already subscribed to the YouTube. But if you're not, it helps us out, helps you out. You can catch these shows live. We got a bunch of shows coming up this week, so you're going to want to do that. Send in a screenshot of that on the little Google Doc there. You pick the race winner of all 3 races on Sunday: the Indy 500, the Coke 600, and the Monaco GP. Again, without Max Verstappen, we're not going to count him. So pick whoever you think is going to finish second to Max, or maybe even beat Max. We don't know how that goes, but we won't be counting Max as an entry. So enter a different driver's name in there. And again, then we'll kind of score everything at the end of the week and do that. But you'll be entered to win, or the winner will get the prize pack of Kyle Larson cars here, one of the IndyCar and his NASCAR Cup car, and then it'll be autographed as well.
So sexy. I definitely want one of those. And when I go to Sonoma, which, by the way, formal announcement, made I got my Sonoma credits, my credentials approved for Sonoma this year. I'll be going back for the Toyota Save Mart 350. Ooh, I can't wait. I love that race. I'm such a huge fan now. Get to spend some time in the California sun with our buddy Kyle Larson. I'll talk to him about what he was like in the Indy 500 and all that other stuff. But yeah, man, a lot of fun to be had that weekend.
Well, I had a lot of fun on that weekend. Last year, Rod, Martin Truex Jr., 35-1. JDK also touching. Really, it's trucks. There's only a handful of actually talented drivers. Rest is just filler. Plus, he is in a McAnally truck. So keep that in mind. By the way, shout out to our guy, Jack Wood. 12th place finish. Not a bad run for him.
Good DFS day for that, too.
Yes. Justin, every truck race rest of the way, I guess we're betting Heim or Eckes. It might get hard to bet those because of the number. Your brother says he loves me. Well, I love you too. I am notorious. And how can we get NASCAR to run the Clash only on wet weather tires? I think the soft radio would be amazing for short track. He's actually mentioned that a couple of times about short, run the wet weather tires. I think that we need to at least continue to progress in that direction. So hopefully they continue to work on this, get some more testing done. And maybe we need to pay more attention to the testing, Rod. Joey Logano ran 800 laps at North Wilkesboro on that tire test they had here. Maybe we should have factored that in, I guess. But, oh well.
Yeah, not even going to lie. It's whatever. But we should pay more attention to Underdog as well. Nick Sanchez better than 9.5 for me. That hit on that one. Let's see what else hit on that. Lane Riggs, well, that didn't hit. I had him worse than 9.5. Anchor better than 10.5. Had that one as well. You had Tay Gray better than 8.5. Unfortunately, that didn't hit. Sammy worse than 7.5. That didn't hit. But Eckes did. Eckes did not. Huh? Eckes.
I accidentally gave out the wrong side on all those, Rod.
Yeah.
It should be like Keno, where if you don't get any numbers, then you get paid too. I mean, it's just as hard to pick all losers as it is to pick all winners, right?
Yeah, I feel that way.
Oh well.
Gotta love it. All right, Cody. Well, listen, we'll go ahead and retire this show because we have got a full week of racing. We have got Indy 500 that we can do tomorrow, Cody. There's Indy 500 odds out already, and a very
boatload of them. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. So we will be back on the NASCAR Gambling Podcast tomorrow on Monday, Rod. Maybe it's today, even if you're listening today. Another reason to go subscribe to the YouTube channel, click the bell. That will go off when we go live. We're still working out the time, but might be a later show. But
we got a lot of schedule.
It's a fluid week, so
definitely.
but yeah, it's going to be a loaded week. I hope you guys are ready to take in a lot of content. 6 races, we'll be betting on all of them, fantasy on all of them. Oh, it is going to be a great week. Then we have, what is it? I think it's close to 1,300 miles of racing on Sunday. It's gonna be just freaking great. So hope you stick with us, and let's have a good week.
If you can't enjoy this week, then don't listen to the show ever again, because this is going to be the week to enjoy it.
What else? Like, what else are you gonna? It's the basketball playoffs. Who cares?
I mean, the UFL's got
it's
week 9 still.
It's the what? Who's that? It's May of baseball. Nobody fucking cares. Although my Yankees have won 7 in a row. Shout out to them. But other than that, yeah, it's all about racing, baby.
Indeed it is. All right, Cody. Well, then as we ship everybody off after this fantastic Sunday of racing at North Wilkesboro, let everyone know where they can find you outside of this world.
Yeah, follow me over on the X at Husker_Zeeb, Rod. I believe I have 6 racing articles coming out for sportsgamblingpodcast.com this week. So you're going to want to stay tuned to that, because I'll have a bunch of those. I've also got a ton of NFL stuff out. Week 1 picks for every single game. There's underdog season-long stuff. I've got an article out for that. Probably tomorrow there's one coming out with the schedule. It's got every spread for the entire season, Rod, on there. And a little bit of analysis as well. So you're going to want to check that out. Printable, too, so you can print it out if you want to keep track of line movement throughout the year, all that fun stuff. So, yeah. And then, again, get ready for some racing articles this week, because they are en route. And go sign up for the contest. See you tomorrow for some Indy 500.
Indeed. Oh, yeah. And by the way, budget yourself for this weekend. It's going to be a massive load for everybody. So get ready. Yes, follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. I'm not giving Elon the satisfaction. At RJ Villagomez. Link in the bio, everything I got going on, whether it's here, whether it's Sportsbook Review. I got an Indy article coming out later on in the week for that as well. And then, of course, in between media, I think I'm going to be joining Seth and Elliot on this episode. My week's all crazy, but I'll make sure to get on for this episode as well. Other than that, you know where to find us. You know where to find me. We'll see you guys tomorrow with some DGen Racing of the Week, kicking off with Indy. Thank you, JDK. See you tomorrow. Till then, let's go racing and let it ride.